this video, we are going to focus on explaining how to do transitions between slides on any kind of PowerPoint presentation. Now, this kind of thing is actually quite simple and fast, so I'll be brief on this. But I will explain a few things that are important. Now, transitions are not always necessary. They are necessary for a certain type of look. They don't always look professional, but they are a good tool to give it a good, elegant look in the end. So let's talk about this first. Now, first, the transition tab is up here. We click on it, okay, and this is what happens between two slides. So if I click on the presentation and I start it, it's going to cut immediately over to the next one or to the previous one. So we're going to play around with that a little bit. So the first thing that we have to do is that what I want to do is I want to create something that in which we can see a change right there. So the first thing we're going to, this is none, so nothing happens. So let's click on the second one. Let's see, morph. Let's see what happens. So the new morph transition indicates blah, blah, blah. So whatever, we're gonna see what it is. So click on the two of them, okay, and then create morph, and it creates a transition between the two of them. It's really interesting. So let's go to the first one again, and we're going to see that it morphs over to the other one. So first one disappears, and then the other one appears. Now, to make this change a little bit more evident, okay, let's see what happens. I just eliminated it from the first one. So it doesn't appear. It doesn't appear on when we open the presentation. But just to make it more evident, let's change the background of this thing. Okay, let's see what a different background looks like with the same transition. So we're going to change it again to another image. Maybe this color is a little bit intense, and that's going to help us see what we're talking about. So let's see how it morphs into a different color. Let's see. It looks quite pretty. You can see the transition of the two colors. So we're going to do this with the next one, and we're also going to change the color just to see what it looks like, okay? So let's see what happens. With this one, instead of a morph, we're going to create a fade. Let's see what the difference is, okay? So let's go from the first one, that we have no transition when it starts, but we morph, and then we fade. Okay, did you see the difference? This one kind of disappears, and then the other one appears, and in this one we transition directly onto the other one. There's a fade in. Now, as you can see, these transitions are kind of long, so what we can do is we can make those transitions shorter. So let's see. Let's click on this first one, and the duration here is about 2 seconds. So we can either click on these arrows and it makes it shorter. Let's go down to 1 second. Let's see what happens. Okay, and let's, this one made it a little bit shorter. It's about 7.7 seconds. Let's go to 0.5, and let's see what happens with the transition. The time should be quite different. See, it was a little bit quicker, okay? The same thing with this one. Okay, now let's go on to the next one. Let's see what we can do. We have this color. Let's change the color again just to make it a little bit more interesting. Let's go down to, now that's too bright. Let's go to this color. A little bit of a darker maroon, I guess. Let's go to dark red. Okay, so this intense red. Now in this case, we've done a morph fade. Now let's go to push. Let's see what happens. It looks quite interesting, doesn't it? Okay, let's see. Let's look at it. Look at the transition right there. Okay, fade. The first one was morph, fade, and now push, and it pushes it. Now if you go back, if you click on the back arrow, you're going to see the transition go in the opposite direction. Okay, I think it's quite lovely. Okay, let's see what the next one brings. Okay, for this one, let's do a darker color, something like this, maybe a dark gray. It's also dark, but it covers a purpose. So let's see what wipe does. Okay, it wipes it to the next one. So let's see. Start from current slide. Okay, it pushes the next one, and then let's move it to the next slide. It wipes it. Looks quite interesting. It reminds me of Star Wars. Okay, and then let's create another one. Let's go to another intense color. Let's go to purple. And let's create another transition. Split. Let's see what split brings us. Okay, all right. We saw what it did. So let's see. Let's go to the slideshows. Play from current slide. Okay, transitioned from the previous one to the next one. And let's see what it does. Splits it right in the middle. in my taste, I think that this one is a little bit too slow. So let's click on this one. Let's go to the transition and make it a little bit faster. Let's go down to 0.75 seconds. Okay, let's see what it does. Let's go to the slideshow, present from the current slide. And the split is a little bit quicker. Okay, and we have just 2 more left. Let's see what we can do with these 2. Okay, with this one, what color should we choose? Let's go to a dark blue. Okay, a dark blue should look interesting. Okay, and we have these transitions split. Let's see reveal. Let's see what it does. Huh, it's quite lovely. I think it's a little bit too long. As we saw it, it looks quite long, so let's go down to maybe 1.5 seconds. Let's see what happens and start from the previous one. Okay, we see the split. I think it looks quite lovely. Okay, 1.5 seconds it lasts. Okay, looks very interesting. And let's go finally to the last one. Okay, and if we see on the animations, if we click on this little arrow right here, we can see quite a few more interesting things that we can see down here. Okay, and these tend to get a little bit crazier as you move forward. So let's go on to let's close with the simple ones, or with the more subtle ones. Okay, and let's see. Let's go to shape. Let's see what happens with shape. Okay, here we go. Let's click on the slideshow, play from the current slide, and let's go over to the next one. And thanks. Okay, now let's try and do another one in which we go to the other crazier, more interesting ones. So let's start with the first one. The first one doesn't have an animation or a transition. As you can see, it has this little star right here. This indicates that there is a transition on this one. So let's place a transition on this very first one, and let's go to the crazier ones. Let's try the vortex. Let's see what happens when we start with the vortex. Okay, and it lasts about 4 seconds. Oh, you saw what it did. Let's go to 3 seconds. Let's see what it does. When it starts, the transition should be there. Well, it is quite crazy. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try the cube. Why not? Okay. Well, we can't appreciate it that much, so let's transition with the second one as the cube, just to see how it looks. Let's check it out. Okay, let's click on the slideshow. It's not starting. Okay. Right there. There we go. So in the first one to the second one, it transitions like that. Let's transition over to the third one. Let's grab just one more for the sake of the example, okay? Let's go with the last one. Let's see gallery. Let's see what it does, okay? All right, so let's start from the beginning and let's show all of them just to appreciate what they look like, okay? So there we go. Let's go to the next one, little cube. This one is a gallery, looks quite elegant. Okay, the push, I don't remember what these are called anyways, all of them. It's a split. And finally, the shape, and thanks. Okay, and this is how you transition between all of these slides. So I recommend you play around with them and see what you can learn out of it. Okay, thank you very much, and enjoy.